A cloaked figure with glowing yellow eyes just hijacked the Zootopia universe, and it might be Nick Wilde's father. Or worse, not an animal at all. This video unpacks every secret Disney does not want you to piece together, from ancient conspiracies to reptilian uprisings. Let's get into it. Zootopia 2 is quietly shaping up to be one of Disney's boldest sequels in recent memory, and with every leak, trailer snippet, and whispered theory, the tension around it continues to thicken. The original film set a high bar by seamlessly blending social commentary with charming storytelling, lovable characters, and an unforgettable twist. But now, as the sequel looms on the horizon, fans find themselves pulled into a deeper rabbit hole of mystery and wonder. There is a hooded figure in the teaser, a pair of glowing yellow eyes unlike anything the franchise has shown before, and an overwhelming sense that this is not just another villain. This is a game changer, a curveball, the kind of surprise that could reshape the very world Zootopia exists. When Disney dropped the first teaser, it was brief but potent. There were no long monologues, no big action sequences. Instead, it focused on atmosphere, tension, and a single moment that changed everything. Nick Wilde, Judy Hopps, and a mysterious new character named Gary DeSnake stood in the shadows, visibly shaken, looking up at an ominous figure whose face was cloaked and whose eyes glowed with an unnatural intensity. The internet did what it always does. It exploded. Screenshots were analyzed, audio was dissected, and forums lit up with fans piecing together every possible clue. Something about this villain felt different, more personal, more dangerous, more layered. One of the most talked about theories to emerge almost instantly centers on a figure long absent from the Zootopia world, Nick Wilde's father. While never seen in the first film, early concept art and storyboards had suggested that Nick once had a complicated family history, one Disney chose to sidestep the first time around. But now, with Nick's expression in the trailer hovering somewhere between fear and heartbreak, people are convinced this is no ordinary confrontation. If this cloaked figure is truly his father, the sequel will not just be expanding its universe, it will be deepening it emotionally, forcing Nick to deal with wounds that have never truly healed. This villain would not just be attacking the city. He would be pulling apart Nick's identity, brick by brick. As gripping as that theory is, there is another that might be even more radical. Some fans have begun whispering the unthinkable. What if for the first time a human has entered the world of Zootopia? The yellow eyes, after all, do not match any known animal species in the franchise. They are eerie, unnatural, almost alien. The silhouette of the figure does not help either. It is tall, upright, and somehow does not move like any mammal we have seen. If Disney dares to open this door, it could be setting the stage for one of its most daring creative leaps. Humans would represent a completely new angle on prejudice, division, and societal structure. They would symbolize the unknown, the other, the threat that cannot be explained through animal behavior or food chains. Suddenly, the politics of predator versus prey would take a backseat to an even bigger question. What happens when something entirely foreign enters the ecosystem? While these high-concept theories are captivating, the introduction of Gary DeSnake has added a fascinating wrinkle to the narrative. Voiced by Ke Huy Quan, Gary is a blue Indonesian pit viper, the first reptile to appear in a city previously defined by mammals. He is shifty, secretive, and carries a complicated backstory. The trailers show him being chased by the police, working with Nick and Judy, and speaking cryptically about a city that forgot its roots. For a while, many thought he was the villain. His species alone would be enough to cast suspicion in a world already rife with social tensions. But the more footage surfaces, the more it looks like Gary is less of a threat and more of a key. He may be the bridge between the past and the present, the one who knows the hidden history Zootopia buried, and the one who knows what is coming. And what is coming might just be a deep revelation. According to some fan interpretations of leaked dialogue and art, reptiles were once an integral part of Zootopia's foundation. Somewhere deep in the city's archives, there is mention of a founding council that included serpents, lizards, and even amphibians. But at some point they were exiled, erased, and forgotten. If Gary is the last living link to that lost world, then the villain may be someone who wants vengeance. Not just for Gary, but for an entire class of species wiped from the city's memory. This makes the idea of sinking Zootopia, yes, literally sinking it, more than just a wild fan theory. If the goal is to cleanse the city of its current order, wash away the legacy of exclusion and rebuild a new society where the oppressed become rulers, then flooding the city like Atlantis becomes a metaphor with terrifying implications. Which brings us back to the hooded figure. Every leak and trailer seems to return to this mysterious villain who stands silent and still but commands absolute dread. Nick flinches when he sees him. Judy steps back. Even Gary, who slithers with confidence and charm, freezes. Whoever this is, he carries weight. Theories vary. Some say it is a powerful reptilian leader, hidden for decades, preparing for a return. Others insist it is Nick's father, perhaps changed by years in hiding, his love twisted into resentment. A vocal minority clings to the human theory, believing this figure is from outside Zootopia altogether. And then there is the possibility that this is all misdirection, that the real villain has not been seen yet, that this cloaked figure is someone trying to stop the true threat and has been mistaken for the enemy. Disney has a history of crafting villains who defy expectations. Bellwether in the first film was a masterclass in subversion. Presented as a meek, nerdy assistant, she ended up orchestrating a plot that exploited fear and division to manipulate power. Her brief appearance in the new teaser has not gone unnoticed. Dressed in a prison jumpsuit and sporting a smug smirk, she seems to have retained her flair for scheming. Could she be pulling strings from behind the scenes, guiding the new villain from her cell? Maybe. Or maybe she is just a red herring, a distraction planted by Disney to keep fans guessing. The idea of a returning villain is tempting. Bellwether represents unfinished business, and her ideology of using fear to control others could easily be reignited in the city's current climate. With new species arriving, old secrets resurfacing, and the public on edge, a charismatic manipulator could do serious damage. All of this builds to a sense that Zootopia 2 is not merely another sequel. The city itself is a symbol of both progress and denial. And through it all, Nick and Judy are forced to re-examine their roles, not just as heroes, but as citizens of a city they thought they knew. Some fans have taken things even further, proposing that the hooded villain is a vigilante of sorts, someone who once fought for justice in the shadows, long before Judy's era of policing, someone who watched the city abandon its ideals and decided that the only solution was a revolution. This opens up a compelling angle. What if the villain is not wrong? What if his methods are extreme, but his motivations make sense? This moral ambiguity is exactly what made the first film resonate, and if the sequel leans into it, the impact could be unforgettable. The idea that the villain could be a predator of snakes, a hawk or eagle perhaps, adds another layer of complexity. Gary's fear would not just be social, it would be primal. A natural enemy, elevated to a position of power, would echo the first film's exploration of instinct versus civilization. And in a city still grappling with old biases, the emergence of such a figure could spark panic, division, and ultimately violence. Every element of Zootopia 2 so far suggests that risk is exactly what they are going for. From the bold inclusion of non-mammalian species to the suggestion of ancient conspiracies, this sequel feels like a natural evolution of everything the first film hinted at but never explored. The stakes are higher, the world is bigger, and the challenges facing Nick and Judy are more personal than ever. They are not just solving a crime. They are confronting history. They are battling ideologies. They are fighting for a city on the edge of transformation. What makes all of this so thrilling is how closely it mirrors our world. Cities built on selective memory. Societies that fear change. Individuals are forced to choose between comfort and truth. Zootopia 2, by tackling these themes through the lens of animation, animals, and allegory, is setting itself up to be both entertaining and deeply relevant. And the villain, whoever he or she turns out to be, is the anchor for all of it. So as fans continue to dissect every teaser frame, parse every line of leaked dialogue, and draw connections across trailers and concept art, one thing is certain: this is not just hype. It is anticipation built on narrative groundwork, emotional resonance, and the tantalizing possibility that Disney might stick the landing. The reveal of the villain will not just satisfy curiosity, it will redefine the world of Zootopia. And when the hood comes off, when the yellow eyes are finally explained, when Nick faces the ghost of his past or the stranger from beyond, when Judy has to choose between the law and the truth, it will not be a moment fans forget. It will be the kind of twist that lingers, reshapes the story you thought you were watching, and leaves you eager to see what comes next. Well, until then, theories will keep flying. Thank you so much for watching till the end. Which of these theories makes the most sense to you? Do you also believe in the human villain theory? Share your thoughts in the comments with us. We'd love to read them. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you in our next video.